To house 3,300 of South Africa's most dangerous inmates, Pollsmoor Prison relies on sheer architectural scale. It is a sprawling fortress of concrete, steel, and strictly enforced geography. The core security strategy is physical segregation. For 15 hours a day, inmates are locked away behind thick concrete walls, meticulously separated to prevent cross-contamination between rival blocks. Yet inside this labyrinth, the three main number gangs, the 26s, 27s, and 28s, operate with a unified, synchronized precision that defies the physical layout. A high-ranking gang judge locked in B section can learn about a rule violation happening on D section, deliberate with his officers, and issue a formal death sentence across the facility in a matter of hours. If the very architecture of Pollsmoor is built to sever all human contact between these blocks, how does a highly structured shadow government actively communicate? The answer doesn't involve smuggled cell phones, illicit two-way radios, or any kind of modern digital technology. Instead, they rely on the one facility-wide distribution network that administrators can never shut down: the delivery of 3 meals a day to every single prisoner. While the warders view this food distribution as basic, required institutional logistics, the gangs see it as a guaranteed, scheduled data transfer. The gangs have co-opted the kitchen, engineering it into the central telecommunications server for the entire complex. The kitchen sits precisely in the middle, acting as the sole intersection connecting every isolated block. To feed thousands, specialized inmate teams known as food spans leave their segregated wings, pushing trolleys down corridors to converge in this central space. This is where a highly specific gang officer steps in. He is known as the Glass. According to gang lore, he carries an imaginary pair of binoculars to see everything and a ring of 16 keys to open any door. In reality, his job is to manage access to this geographical choke point. He uses his authority and the threat of violence to ensure that only loyal gang members are appointed to the food spans. By infiltrating these seemingly mundane kitchen crews, the Glass guarantees that the gang has an active, authorized network of human couriers continuously circulating through the prison's main arteries. Every food trolley leaving a cell block carries invisible cargo, gang orders, strategic intelligence, and updates on high-level deliberations. Once inside the chaotic and steamy environment of the prison kitchen, couriers from completely different blocks cross paths. In the blur of serving lines and boiling pots, they whisper messages and swap information. The data being exchanged requests authorizations for violence, plans coordinated protests, and passes judgment on rule breakers. This mandatory logistical requirement now functions as a real-time analog network. This raises an obvious question. Why do heavily armed administrators, knowing exactly what is happening, allow violent gangs to control their most critical logistical hub? It comes down to the psychological vulnerability of the gangs themselves. If the warders fully seal the kitchen and blind the high command, extreme paranoia quickly infects the isolated cell blocks. When local leaders lose contact with judges, discipline collapses. Lower-ranking inmates stage internal coups or launch frantic, unauthorized attacks against guards purely out of fear. So the guards strike an unwritten, symbiotic treaty with the inmates. They purposely leave the communication network slightly open to prevent total institutional warfare. The warders are not failing to enforce the rules. They are strategically surrendering the kitchen, accepting the harsh reality that a controlled, communicative gang is far safer than a blind, panicked one. This network provides the physical means to distribute contraband. Because food pans are the only authorized travelers between segregated blocks, they function as the primary supply chain for the prison's internal drug market. Dominating this logistical space is the ultimate status symbol. It dictates the facility's daily rhythm and establishes which gang officially rules Pollsmoor. It reveals a profound sociological irony. Stripped of all personal autonomy and reduced to a uniform, these inmates have responded by building a bureaucracy that perfectly mirrors the rigid military hierarchy of their captors. The number gangs ensured their survival while cloning the rigid military structure of the very state system that imprisoned them. True authority in a maximum security environment is rarely held by the people wielding the physical batons and the iron keys. Actual power belongs entirely to those who can control the invisible flow of logistics and information. They took the rigid schedule of their captivity and turned it into an infrastructure for power.